Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 17th of June, the first important news, that is G20 Agriculture Ministerial Meeting. Second, massive die-off of fish in the coast. We'll see the detail why, the reason, the part of the dying is there. Third, academics defended the NCERT efforts to update the syllabus. Second last, Prime Minister to lead Yoga Day celebration at United Nations headquarters. And the last is an editorial, the world in the WTO. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the part of the prelims examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do hit that like button. And if you're appearing for mains, you need to practice a good number of tests. We at Apti Plus providing you UPSC mains test cum guidance program, a comprehensive coverage for mastering each and every subject. So this particular initiative is available both online and offline. This will include 4 full-length tests of general studies. Along with that, you will get 2 essay tests, and complementary part will be also provided with ethics paper, which is again very good. You need to practice good number of ethics case studies so that you can have edge in the marks, the final marks that is obtained by a candidate. For more details, if you're interested, you can reach out to this number or you can refer to the website, and from there also you can directly register for this course. So do check it out. It's starting from 18th of June onwards. So starting the session, that is the first news, G20 Agriculture Ministerial Meeting, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So addressing the meeting, Prime Minister was addressing this meeting virtually, and he said that the agriculture sector is facing severe challenges due to global supply chain disruptions because of pandemic and even because of the geopolitical tension. See, during COVID-19, we have seen the complete disruption, not only for India, but also for the entire world. And in terms of geopolitical tension, in the present context, in the contemporary context, you can connect it with Russia and Ukraine. So these two countries are, the invasion of Russia and Ukraine has caused a lot many problems in the supply chain and even for the products like oilseeds, petroleum, and many other metals. Now, the supply chain disruption was caused by the pandemic and even have worsened due to the impact of geopolitical tension. This is what I told you. The climate change is causing extreme weather event, and more frequently we are finding a problem. Even if you see the part of the cropping pattern, the agriculture part, the climate change has impacted each and every sector down the line, and even the impact is clearly evident. Now, what is the importance of agriculture in India? If you see precisely for India, agriculture is something as a heart for human civilization. For India, it is actually, but if you see for many other countries, agriculture has been the part of human civilization. And agriculture provide a livelihood to over 2.5 billion people globally. This is a global data, and account for 30% of the GDP and over 60% of the job in global south. Now, throwing light, India contributed to the agriculture sector. Prime Minister ने highlight करते हुए बताया कि जो इंडिया की policy है, that is infusion with back to basics and march to future, right? So this is what the theme is. And he said that India is promoting natural farming. If you see the part of natural farming, Government of India has come up with great missions, right? National bamboo missions, and even for agriculture, we have missions. So, and even for state like Sikkim, which is considered as an organic state, Goa में भी बहुत हद तक organic farming को बढ़ाया गया. So these states are working towards promoting the natural farming with the help of technology-enabled farming. So India is doing its best, and even the Prime Minister has requested that each and every country should endeavor to promote natural farming by incorporations of the technology. Now, call for collective action. The main theme that we are discussing this news is because of the collective action. The Prime Minister has called for a collective action. So the Prime Minister urged all agriculture ministers who were the participant during the G20 meeting. So he said to deliberate on how to undertake collective actions and to achieve the food security. He suggested that finding the ways for sustainable and inclusive food system that would focus on the marginal farmer and strengthen the global fertilizer and supply chain. At the same time, Prime Minister ने ये भी कहा that we need to adopt the global practices which will call for a better soil health, crop health, and even the yield, that is the final production that is there, that should be also on a higher side, even so that the farmer can have a substantial margin, the investment that is made by the farmer that can gain with the fine of the production that is there. Now he emphasized that the need to empower the farmer with innovation and technology. There are a lot of technology that is ongoing, whether it's a part of fertilizers, even the part of technology upgrade in terms of equipments that should be incorporated and ensure that these solutions are affordable for farmers, especially for the small and marginal farmer in the global south. So definitely the visions has been clearly set out to ensure that the collective actions are there to augment the part of agriculture sectors. Now, International Year of Millet. I mean, this is something very important for the examination. The Prime Minister noted that year 2023 is celebrated as International Year of Millet. And just to remind you, in 2018, India has celebrated the National Year of Millet. The millet was declared as a national crop. Now, the part of the United Nations resolutions to lead the part of supported by 17 countries. IY बात करें अगर International Year of Millet की बात कीजिए, if you short form YIYM. So it was actually supported by 17 nations, and millet is a less expensive, nutrition superior wheat which owns to high protein, fiber, vitamin, and mineral like iron content. Right. So India, Nigeria, China, the largest producer of millet in the world. And India is developing an institute of research and excellence for sharing practices, research technology in the millet. Now, moving to the other news, massive die-offs of the fish in the coast. So something concerning the part of the environment, and this is with regards to the beach country park. Relevant for General Studies Paper 3, that is the Conservation, Environmental Pollutions, Degradation, and EIA. So according to the US officials, the thousands of fish were wafted ashore in the Texas Gulf Coast due to low dissolved oxygen event which take place in the warm water. And I'll show you what are the, if you can see, this is a map. This was a part where the things were actually reported. This is Gulf Coast. Now the fishes that were reported, the images were released. So you can see these number of fishes. There are complete pool along the coast. The fishes were reported there. So Pointina Beach country, the park, the official of the species most impacted by the fiscal, and the Gulf of Meden, adding that the pedestrian beach is mostly clear with the expectations factoring, and the fish machinery could not get. So there was some part of the loss of oxygen, even if you see the part of biological oxygen demand which is there. But in this condition, that point is not valid. It is because of the warming of the water where temperature has taken a toll up to 70 degrees Celsius. I'll tell you in a while what was the temperature. Now, what is the impact of warm water and how does it kill the fish? The fish kill layer were common in summer when temperature increases. As the temperature increases, the demand of oxygen, the level of oxygen which is there is decreases, right? That ultimately led suffocation and death of the fishes. So there's no enough oxygen in water and fishes can't breathe. So the breathing pattern gets disturbed. And water hold much less than the cold, and fish find themselves in warm could not end up in big trouble. When the water temperature rises up 21 degrees Celsius, that is 70 degrees Fahrenheit, it becomes hard for fish to receive oxygen and to survive. So they actually survive in cold water, right? And if the temperature rises, it becomes suffocating for them, reason being result in the death of the feces. Now, moving to the other news, academics defend NCERT efforts to upgrade the syllabus, something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is issues related to development and management of education and human resources. So there was a report, I think you have come across the news. There was a report about the expert panel. They have recommended, some of the experts who were the part of the panel of NCERT have recommended that their name should be withdrawn because the policies of rationalization which is there by the government of India recently, particularly by the NCERT, so they are not conceiving that idea and they want their names to be withdrawn. So amid the row over the substantial revision in the original syllabus of the NCERT and its curriculum, 73 academicians, including the Vice Chancellor of Central University, have released a statement, and they have said, alleging that the false propaganda is being spread along the council. So first, a concern was raised. Now the NCERT has come up with the statement that this is a false propaganda which is there. Now the statement said that the process of selections for the scholar in this task were thoroughly liberal, democratic and humanistic. This is what the NCERT in its stand has said, right? So this was the statement that was given. Now what was the concern that was raised by the expert panel? See, what has happened that 33 academicians who were the member of the textbook committee which was actually drafting the book from 2006 to 7 और उसी curriculum में जो national curriculum framework आई थी, they were working accordingly. So they said that the present syllabus, the present rationalization which is there is jeoparding the part of creation of collective efforts, right? And asked the council to remove the name of the stakeholders and even the part of expert from the current textbook. See what has happened, government has dropped chapters, no, a complete chapter has been dropped, complete topic has been dropped, and it takes a lot of effort to design NCERT. They're a group of none less than 20 to 25 people who sit together, have a brainstorming sessions, then they come up with the content, and suddenly discarding the part of complete chapter is to a larger extent is unethical. There should be a complete deliberation, there should be a complete discussion before doing this, because if you're making some books with consultation, the withdrawal should be done with a complete consensus. So these are my personal opinion. Even you can share this in the paper that there should be a neutral view. Even if a question is asked in examination, you can even say that yes, there should be some approaches, there should be some discussion with the committee that have actually framed the content. Now NCERT views की अगर बात करें, NCERT official said that the school curriculum in India has not been updated for last 2 decades. The last update हुई थी वो 2006. And the correct NCERT team is making consistent effort to reduce the burden, and even the learning outcome in the rationalization process is relevant. This is what the supporting argument NCERT is coming with. But there's certain things that need to know. You cannot only specifically target some particular thing. There are other things that must be known. The history is a legacy, right? And it should be known to the future generation also. Now the academician said that unlike the selection process of the author, which is a previous time, the selection process at this time during the rationalization exercise was more transparent and ethically justified. This is what the NCERT has said in its counter statement. Now moving to the other news, Prime Minister to lead Yoga Day celebration at United Nations. This is important for General Studies paper 2, that is the effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest and India's diaspora. The Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, is visiting the New York. Basically, he'll be visiting 2 countries. So, as a part of International Yoga Day celebration at the United Nations headquarters in New York, he will be addressing a joint session of US Congress, marking the 9th International Yoga Day. So, this is again something important. आपसे कई बार directly numbers पूछे जा सकते हैं. Which number? So, this time, this 9th Yoga Day. The visit of the Prime Minister will have 2 nation visit. First, he'll be going to United States as well as Egypt. So there will be India's 8th visit of the Prime Minister. After this is 8th visit, the total 9th visit. After the Joe Biden, who is the current president, the Prime Minister of India is visiting for the first time. Now, International Day of Yoga की अगर बात करें, so this is something which was there in 2014. So this time India has actually pitched for something, and the part of the International Yoga Day was actually adopted, and it claimed that the resolutions on June 21 as the International Yoga Day. So this can be also important. The date can be asked that what is the year on which International Yoga Day was adopted. So 14, and if you calculate it as 9 to 2023. So that 9 year celebrations. The draft resolutions were proposed by India and endorsed by the record 175 members. The Prime Minister will receive the ceremonial welcome at White House on June 22 to meet the US President and continue the high-level dialogues. Global endorsement on health benefits की बात की गई. If you're talking about International Yoga Day, the part of discussion on health is inevitable, right? So the Prime Minister in his address during the 69th sessions of the General Assembly has highlighted the holistic nature of yoga, stressing the need for promoting a unify and fostering the good health. The World Health Organization has also emphasized the significance of physical activity in combating the non-communicable diseases, including the cardiovascular elements, cancer, and diabetics. Yoga, with its ability to reduce the physical inactivity and enhance well-being, also aligns perfectly with the global call for healthier lifestyle choices, right? So this is a part where yoga called for promotion of health, and even yoga, naturopathy, these are some of the things which Government of India is promoting to a larger extent. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, the world into WTO, something important for General Studies paper 2. That is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So what I'll be discussing under this editorial, if you see the part of article, that is the theme is WTO reform. We'll see what are the important points that is there. Apart from this, there will be a discussion on about the WTO, how it was formed, what are the basic things that you need to know about the WTO, right? Then we have WTO reform, which is again important, and the conclusion part. So this will follow and we'll make a discussion for the complete editorial. So starting with the background part, if you see the part of the background, the recently concluded meeting at G20 Working Group on Trade and Investment called for focusing on the important issues of WTO reform. And this reform is something which is long pending. India has been demanding the part of WTO reform, which is conclusively not worked out. Still, it's not worked out. So, I mean, this platform of G20, which currently India is sharing, should come up with some conclusion. Now, there has been a global agenda for including the part of G20 where members play a key role in the WTO. Now, however, any talk of the WTO reform should not side in the larger global context, and WTO created in that era was aimed at liberalizing the policy, economic and interdependence. Now, WTO की अगर बात करें, the World Trade Organization is an international organization. The primary purpose is to have an open trade and benefit for all. So this is what the motto of the WTO is, right? If you're writing in mains, make sure you write this. Now, the WTO is currently the only global organizations which call for a rule-based trade among the nations, and it has 164 members, including the European Union, 23 observer government, a country like Iran, Iraq, Bhutan, and Libya. Now, WTO reform की suggestions दी गई है इस article में, and there are 4 important recommendations that is suggested at how the reform should proceed. So the WTO reform must come from G20 middle powers such as India, Indonesia, Brazil, and South Africa. So these name of the countries are again important. Now, the term of the WTO reform means that there are certain things that need to be done by the developing countries. What are the things that need to be done? Among them, the first is have a cardinal pillar of international trading regime in the presence of special and differential treatment, which is called SSTD, special and differential treatment. So WTO में इस पे ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत है, and even giving the level of development of the differences of the WTO member, STD provisions give certain rights on developing countries and obligate to developed countries to treat firmer and more favorable. Now, the part of the special and differential trading provision need to be given more truth within efforts to weaken the treaty which is embedded with the right, and the name of WTO reform should be opposed to tooth and nail. So there should be a unanimity. The benefit should be given to each and every member country, specifically to the developing countries. Now, second, the appellate body which is there. There were a lot of discussion about the appellate body because the functioning of appellate body is not with the full potential. तो सेकेंड टीयर ऑफ है ये WTO की, जो कि एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट फंक्शंस एक्ट करती है WTO, बट द डिस्प्यूट सेटलमेंट रिमेन पैरालाइज्ड बिकॉज देयर इज नो अपॉइंटमेंट, and even because of the US continued launches, the things are not actually working out. So the part of the Washington overall game plan to dilute the policy part, WTO, and allow to pursue the trade unilateralism without any checks. However, जो WTO countries हैं, I mean for G20 countries की अगर बात करें, they need to either persuade the US to change its position or to rescind the part of appellate body without the United States. See, for any organization, appellate body is very important, right? And this appellate body can help the member countries and even for the developing countries to have the grievance redressal mechanism. So that is the reason if US is not the part of that, and if US is blocking the part of that, definitely the member countries should support and the functioning of appellate body should be there. The third is giving the slowness and the consensus-based decision which is there at WTO from 2017 onwards. It has shifted the principle towards the pluralistic decision and it called for an investment facilitation. So इसमें क्या करने की ज़रूरत है? जो governance है, that need to include the key pillars such as non-discrimination, inclusivity, and even the pluralist negotiation and WTO rule. Fourth, it is imperative to address that transparency given the gap in WTO, especially the notification requirement, although WTO member countries are obliged to have the laws and regulate the trade compliances with obligations to poor, और ये increase करेगी cost of trade, especially to the developing countries. So the trade should be such where the profit for the marginalized countries should be there, and the rule-based order that should continue for all the member countries. Now, to conclude, that trade multilateralism might be out of fashion, but remain a vital salience for the country like India, and hence under the presidency of G20, it should work with other countries to drive WTO reform agenda aimed at making the multilateralism inclusiveness, right? So the developing countries should have the highest stake and highest say so that they are also on the right track towards the developed countries. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second question, the correct option is C. Today's MCQ for practice. The first is gamma ray burst. को बताना है कौन सी statement correct है. It's an astronomical cosmic wave that burst the high energy gamma rays. Emit emit more energy in few seconds or sun emit over the lifetime. So check out for the correct options. Second question of the day is United Nations Industrial Development Organization. It's a specialized agency of the United Nations to assist countries in economic development. Its headquarters is there at UN in Washington, USA, United States of America. So practicing a lot more question will give you an added advantages. If you're preparing for any other competitive examination, state PCS, it is very important that on a daily basis you practice some question. We have other social media platform also where questions are put. So do check it out. This was all about for the discussion on daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other queries about the courses, admissions, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.